welcome to Reform Studios Live. Reform Studios is a ministry of Hillview Baptist Church, and we exist to share the truth of scriptures through the various topics that we discuss on a weekly basis. Today we are discussing the topic, stewarding your finances during the festive period. So there's obviously a specific emphasis on the season that we are in. Now, during the festive season, we tend to be generous with ourselves financially. We have just come off a year of hard work, and we feel the need to reward ourselves. Now, the world disagrees on a lot of things, but it agrees on one thing here. The whole festive period is centered around somewhat a hive of commercial activity, with companies and organizations distributing shopping vouchers, paying out 13th checks and bonuses. How then do we conduct ourselves in a responsible manner during this period? So joining us tonight to work us through our discussion is Mr. Bobbline Cheembela. Bobbline, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So it's technically the first time we're having you as our guest. I remember our last attempt, you were supposed to, you did join us virtually. It didn't go very well. I think we had all sorts of technical issues.
Yeah.
But certainly physically, today is the first time we're meeting. We're glad to have you. Just by way of introduction, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, no, thank you so much. So my name is Bobbline Cheembela. I'm a Christian, a member at Kamnaga Baptist Church, where I also have the privilege and honor of serving in the diaconate of the church. Professionally, I would say two things. I'm an accountant first, and then secondly, I'm a banker. And at the moment, I'm working for Access Bank Zambia, where I have the honor and privilege of serving the bank as a deputy managing director. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, before we get into the questions, just a word to our guests. You are free to join us through our discussion. You can post your comments and questions and anything that you think will help the discussion tonight. So, Uncle Bobbline, the festive period, so much spending, people tend to forget that January is around the corner, a new year is coming and we need to refocus ourselves financially. But the festive period is special because people just, they just spend. So we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that must control our minds during this period, biblically, actually. So we'll go straight into the questions. What does the Bible specifically teach about being a faithful steward of money, particularly when faced with opportunities for quick spending, such as, for example, Black Friday sales?
Okay, no, thank you so much for that question. So I think for me, when I look at being good stewards, I'm reminded of one of the parables of the Lord Jesus Christ, I think found in Matthew chapter 25, I think from verses 14 to about verse 30, where I'm sure as long as someone went to Sunday school, you must be familiar with that story. It talks about a master who had 3 servants, and he left them with talents. To the first one, he gave 5 talents, the second one 2 talents, and then the third one 1 talent. When he came back, we saw how that the person with the 5 talents multiplied and gave the master an additional 5. Same with the one with the 2 talents. But the one with the 1 talent did not do anything.
Yes.
And he basically gave back the master what he got. And the master basically said, look, you've been a bad steward. If you didn't want to do anything with it, you might have as well just given the money to the bank, so that you could have found that it has grown. So for me, that's really about stewardship, and I think the resources that come to us, we should look at them as a gift from God, and at all costs we should avoid what I might call wastage. So I think for me, in a nutshell, I would look at being a good steward from that perspective, let's avoid wastage. And I think, as you have said, we are in the festive season, and I'm sure as we go on, we'll look at a number of things. One of the things that come to mind for me is a situation where we become impulsive. So I think as we go along, I think maybe we can look at some of the safeguards we can put in place to be good stewards of our finances.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a good start. So obviously the scriptures emphasize a level of responsibility, a level of accountability. Yes. So you've heard it for yourself. The scriptures are not silent on stewardship. I think that's a pretty popular parable that has a very clear meaning. It leaves very little room for interpretation because of how clear it is. So moving on to our second question. As Christians, how do we balance the desire to be generous during the festive period, I think with the priority to save and manage debt responsibly, because obviously during the festive period there's exchanging of gifts, there are all these family functions that happen. May I even add church functions, cell groups meeting and, organizing all these, special events for themselves. There's quite a bit of spending that is involved, Innocent, on the surface of it. But how do we still prioritize saving and managing debt responsibly? Because some people do contract debt during this period.
I think that's a very good question to look at. I'm reminded of during this time, there are people who post on social media like something short but eye-catching, where they basically say that as you may remake during the festive season, remember that the December salary is the same salary you will use to sort out your motor vehicle insurance. It's the same salary that you are going to use to pay for school fees and so forth. So now, for me, the fact that we know that December is around the corner, what I would say is that there is need for us to be deliberate and intentional about planning for this period. You don't just consume everything from January and expect that suddenly in December you will consume more than your salary. And also now to bring in financial management in this aspect, I think if we go to the Bible also, especially like if you look at the book of, I think it should be in 1 Timothy chapter 6, where it talks about contentment. I want to relate that to kind of us living within our means. So meaning that we can't spend more than we earn. So we have to spend within what we earn. Now, what that entails, like for instance, let me give an example with, let me say, our colleagues in the Western world who are intentional about, for instance, planning for a vacation. So they will save up for that vacation. When the vacation comes, they've got money they can, for lack of a better word, blow on a vacation.
Because they planned for it.
So you don't just use your December salary before you even buy groceries. You are blowing it on Christmas and so forth. So we need to be intentional, and we need to ensure that we live within our means. Now, I think for me, living within our means, I think you talked about the issue of debt. I am a banker, and I can guarantee you, even from the bank where I work, you will see promotions to encourage people to borrow.
You want to see that happening?
But what I can really say is that I don't think there's no wisdom in using debt for things that you should sort out from your salary. It basically means that you are spending your future money, because that debt does not come free. I think it costs. So in a nutshell, for me, it's about being intentional, being deliberate, planning for these things, not doing things at impulse.
Yes.
Just because you see everybody having a party, we should also have a
should
party.
also throw one, yes.
No, it shouldn't work like that. We need to be good stewards of our resources.
Excellent.
And,
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here because you have this exclusive view of how or the trends, financial trends of people,
Yeah.
how they treat their finances during the festive season. Maybe just a side step. This wasn't on our list of questions, but just out of interest,
Yeah.
when you look at your I don't know if I can say balance sheets.
Yeah.
You know, you look at clients' accounts in the bank.
Yeah.
Do you see a spike in December, like in terms of, I don't know, maybe spending or borrowing or something like that?
Yes, I would say there's a spike, but that spike is, in most organizations, it's planned and it's intentional.
Right.
Like I'll give an example of where I work. We do have clients,
Yes.
and we want to appreciate them during this period by getting them hampers. Those hampers are not free. And there's also an exchange. As we give out hampers, we also receive hampers and so forth. So now, when I look at that, in my view, there's a spike, but it is planned for.
It's planned for, yeah.
For me, I would also liken it to, like for instance, if I think of, like, let's say, you go, let's say you take your children, say maybe somewhere to have fun, and then you've got funds. You say, okay, this money you've planned for it.
Yes.
I'm going to spend it there. So when they are coming, you want to go on the jumping castle. How much is it you give them? It's like you've planned for it.
You've planned for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and at the end of the day, once you exhaust what you've planned for, that's it. You don't go beyond.
You don't go extra. Yes.
Extra, yeah.
Yes,
So there's a spike, yes, but it's planned for.
It's planned for more or less. Yeah.
Not
Okay.
impulsive.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, in case you are joining us this evening, we are discussing stewarding our finances during the festive season. Our guest is Mr. Bobbline Cheembela from Kamnaga Baptist Church. Please do feel free to come in the topic. You can send your comments, your questions. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. So you are free to join us on those platforms. So we carry on with our discussion. I think where we've come from, we've sort of established that there needs to be a level of responsibility. We can't let ourselves loose without thinking. Let's speak a bit more practically. Can you walk us through a simple, effective method for tracking festive season spending to avoid going into debt?
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's a very important question. And for me, I would also liken that to, when you walk into a supermarket,
Yes.
like ShopRite, you see someone with a trolley, and they are moving from aisle to aisle and just picking everything that caught whatever caught their eye. For me, I would look at that as a bit irresponsible, but it's also possible that maybe that person mentally, they've got a plan, they know what they want to get. Because sometimes we do get the same things, but I admire those people who would have a list, and as they get something, they tick. So meaning they've planned for it. So now, personally, as an individual, what I do is I hate being broke.
I think we all do.
I hate being broke. And being broke, believe me or not, has got nothing to do with the level of your income.
Right.
It's got nothing. Somebody
Right.
can be earning, let me just give maybe some statistics. Somebody can be earning 10,000 kwacha.
Right.
They can be broke. Someone can be earning 40,000 kwacha. They will be
They
broke.
can still be broke. Yeah.
Someone can be earning 200,000 kwacha.
Yes.
They'll still be
They'll still
broke.
be broke,
Yeah.
yes,
So the key is to ensure that as you get your income, you kind of be deliberate about budgeting. You say, okay, this is my income. What do I want to spend this income on? Of course, you put in the important things that you need to spend on. This. And of course, we should also be deliberate about saving for a rainy day. Savings, you put it in there. Maybe what remains is what you can say, okay, this one, I don't care how I blow it, but you've planned for it. And I think for me, if you work like that, where for anything you get, it must have been planned for. And of course, you can't plan for every eventuality.
Yes.
So in your planning, in your budgeting, you must also leave room for contingencies and so forth. But the key that I'm trying to drive at is that there must be planning. You cannot just spend. Like, for instance, let me give an example. Let's say I've got a building project.
Yes.
And I know that I need to, maybe I'm putting a roof, or I want to paint or something like that.
Yes.
If I plan for that expenditure, when I go to a shop that has got materials, I know that I'm spending from what I've planned for. I'm not just walking in there blind. I don't even know how much it costs. I just get, and all of a sudden, I am broke. Yeah, so the key for me is being intentional and being serious. And also, like, for instance, as I said, I personally, I plan for all my expenditure. Initially, I would write out everything, but sometimes I get to a stage where mentally I know that as long as I sort out that, the things that remain are kind of, or maybe I would say, is what I can use for maybe other things and so forth. But the key is not to just spend anyhow, but to plan. And on this aspect, what I also say is that what we spend is normally driven by what we earn. I normally like giving an example of a gentleman who lived, I think, in the 18th century. Most of the people in the Baptist circles or in the Wesleyan circles, in the Brethren in Christ and so forth, they may have come across a gentleman called John Wesley.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I did read the biography of John Wesley a long time ago when I was in school. One thing I got from there is that it is said of him that he was earning an income of, for argument's sake, £35 a month. That was his salary. Then one day, his employers decided to increase his salary to £100. Now, for most of us, so for John Wesley, with the £35 he was earning, he was spending within £35. Maybe he was spending £32, £33 in a month. Now, for most of us, when the salary goes to 100, our expenditure also moves with it. We start spending maybe...
My dreams would come true.
Yes. £95 or something like that. But one principle I learned from John Wesley is that even with that, he never changed his expenditure pattern. He still remained disciplined to spend within the £35, and that extra 65, he just used it for ministry.
Wow.
So now, when I look at that and I look at, say, maybe examples from my own early life, I do recall at some point where this thing of the point I'm making that expenditure, or sorry, income drives our expenses, but it should not be that way. We should be deliberate about what we want to spend on. An example I can give is when I completed my grade 12, I went to college on a scholarship.
Yes.
Now, with that scholarship, we were being given a monthly salary. So because we are being given a monthly salary, there are certain things like, not as students, things like bread, butter, jam, powdered milk, I remember juice and so forth. Those we considered them necessities because we could afford them from the allowance we were getting. Then I think maybe 6 months into the scholarship, the circumstances of our sponsors changed, and there was some cost cutting, restructuring, and we were put on a program where we were not earning a monthly salary, but we were getting like a lump sum at the beginning of the year. So meaning throughout the month there was no income coming in. Believe it or not, just on our own, we basically rationalized certain things and said things like, okay, so bread. It's not a necessity to have bread because in the morning when we go for breakfast, they give us a big chunk of bread.
Yes,
So
yes,
you can
yes, yes.
eat part of it, the other bit you can have it at night,
At night, yeah.
when you're having your teas. Then juice, we're like, no, it's not even healthy. We can have water, which was readily available.
Yes,
Yeah, so we cut out quite a number of things. And
yes.
we didn't die.
Yeah,
We
you were surviving,
yeah, we
yeah.
survived. And in fact, actually, for me, I've also used that. Like over my career, I have changed jobs, and sometimes with a change of job comes with an uplift in the earnings.
Yes.
I've tried as much as possible during those transitions. I don't disturb my expenditure. That would allow me to create what I might call money I can invest. So the point I'm trying to make is that we need to be deliberate about our expenditure. We should not let our expenditure be driven by the income that we are earning.
Right. Yeah. Another side step. Would you say you obviously hold a senior position where you are. Would you say because of all the budgeting that you do in the bank, making sure the business is safe, does that sort of guide your personal planning or anything like that?
Okay, no, I think it helps.
It helps. Yeah.
It helps, but there are also people in my position
Yes.
earning a lot of money, but they are broke because they've allowed the extra income they make to drive their expenditure.
Yeah. Right.
Like for instance, you gave I think when we were starting, you said something like, around this time, people get a 13th check, they get a voucher. So sometimes that could be an opportunity for you to like create some sort of financial freedom for yourself, rather than even spend more than the 13th check you're getting.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I think what is coming out from all that you're saying is a high level of discipline.
Yes.
Which a lot of people fail to maintain, whether it's an upturn in earnings, whether it's a downturn in earnings. I've seen people who struggle, when they are no longer in a job that used to give them a little bit more than they need, and now they have to downgrade. There's a bit of a struggle. Whatever the case, discipline must be present.
Yes, I think it's in fact, actually, when we talk of discipline, I recall, I think the other week I was attending a meeting. So I met one of the ambassadors of one of our African country neighbors, and she was basically saying something like, as after this function, we were having a meal, and there was all kinds of food, and she was basically saying, when I travel, I would prefer to be in a place like this because I can eat as much as I want. But if you go to the house, and she was referring to like a rich person, you go to the house of a rich person, when it comes to, say, bread, they will just give you 2 slices. So like the point was trying to stress is that most of the people we see who are rich, and I think most of us would want to be rich like them, they don't waste money. Even coins, they account for coins.
For those,
but for us who are in the middle class, it's like if you've got a little money, everybody else must know through your expenditure.
I've got money. You must know.
Like for instance, you are driving a small car, you've got a little bit of money, you must change your car. Because of a big car or something. You are living in a particular neighborhood, income increases, you have to move to a posher neighborhood and so forth. But I think for me that's also a bit of lack of discipline. We should guard against it.
Yes. Even adopting phrases that Narishi Churida.
Yes.
So I must make sure.
and like the word you've used, that Narishi Churida. I remember a long time ago, a colleague of mine, young in our careers, what used to happen is on payday, would go to the bank and literally withdraw everything. You don't want to making trips to the bank. Like in the olden days, you could keep money in the house or something like that. I remember one time after we got paid, We went, so like from the office, we walked to town,
Yes.
withdrew our salaries.
Yes.
Then since now we had money, we can't walk back. So we got onto a taxi.
Yes,
We were
yes.
not driving then.
Yes,
We get onto a taxi. So as we get to the office, I remember this conversation vividly. So the taxi driver mentioned the fare. It wasn't like Yango where the fee is known.
It's fixed,
In those
yes,
days, you negotiate.
Negotiate, yes.
So the taxi driver mentioned a certain amount. Then this friend of mine kind of negotiated hard for that amount to be
be lowered,
reduced,
yes,
to a point where the taxi driver kind of felt defeated. Like, okay, it's okay.
At least,
So now, when paying the taxi driver, this gentleman removed almost like his entire salary, and then he was selecting. From there.
Yes,
Then the taxi driver was like, boss, even if you are negotiating, you've got all that money
that you have there.
And then and then he moved aside and says, this money, I have worked for it. I can't just be giving
it out for free.
Yeah, so for
It did come free.
so for me, that's also discipline. Don't waste money.
Yes. It's just so funny how our culture kind of also influences these, others will say, uliawaka so, small things like that
Yeah.
kind of tend to,
Yeah.
unfortunate, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
Yes. So to our guests, I hope you are enjoying the show for tonight. I notice we have our usual guests from Uganda, Isaac and Stella Twevaze. As usual, we're happy to have you on the show. We also have Joe Chasonga from Livingstone watching us. Thank you very much. Now, we've talked about discipline, responsibility. You have your budgeting in check, But what tends to, I think at the beginning of this cast, I had mentioned that this season is commercialized, All these shops and stores know that people have got money. So what do? They create these Black Fridays, these Christmas deals. And then as you're seeing these things, because, they work on your mind. Nowadays we've got our cell phones. You're seeing these promotions, You open your phone, that's the first thing you're seeing.
Yeah.
You drive out, the billboards are talking about the same thing. You go to buy a simple thing in ShopRite, there's, promotions all over the place. And you start developing the fear of missing out. But yes, I'm disciplined, I have a plan, but I'm going to miss out on these sales.
Yeah.
So how then can a Christian practically ground their decision-making in contentment rather than impulse?
Yeah, so I think for me, this goes back to the point we're talking about, planning for it.
Yes.
Let me give an example. Let's say you plan to maybe upgrade your flat screen TV. You've got a 32-inch, and you want to upgrade it to maybe a 48-inch. I think it happens in most people's lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, if you plan, like for instance, that come Black Friday, that 48-inch TV that you want, it's like it's in your plans, is going to be sold at a reduced price. Plan for that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that when Black Friday comes, you've planned for it, so you haven't upgraded on impulse. So I think for me, the bottom line is that let's avoid impulse buying, where something just appeals to the eye,
and you are on it.
Yes, you want it. So for me, there is actually a lot of freedom in spending on what you have planned for. You actually spend with a free mind because you've planned for it. And maybe in the things that you've planned for, if there is change and there's something else you would have wanted but you thought it was out of your scope, then you bring it in. So you introduce some sort of flexibility in your planning. So in answer to the question, for me, is the key is to just plan.
Yes,
just make sure that whatever you spend, if you walk into ShopRite you don't walk into ShopRite, you've got no idea what will come out. Or you walk into ShopRite, your intention in ShopRite is maybe to go and buy 3 things. You come out with 10 things. I think for me that's lack of discipline.
Lack of discipline,
And
yes.
lack of discipline actually has a cost because you've spent money you didn't plan for. What that means is that you've taken money away from some other legitimate need.
That was pending, yes.
Yes, that was pending. Now, when that legitimate need comes, what do? You start borrowing.
Right.
And unfortunately, with borrowing, what I have observed over time, both in terms of just individuals, even in terms of companies that borrow irresponsibly, you get to a point where you can't pay back your debts.
Yes.
And there are even people who like let's say maybe you are borrowing from your friends. You've got a need, you borrow from friend A. When friend A comes for their money, you go and borrow from friend B. So now,
patching up.
At that stage, you are living beyond your means. In the end, you just ruin your reputation. And in fact, actually, if you look at in the developed world, and I think we have it here in Zambia and in Africa as well, where we've got these credit bureaus which track how people perform on what they borrow. So meaning that, like let me give an example. If an individual comes to Bank A,
Yes.
they borrow, they fail to pay back. When they go to Bank B, Bank B will know without being told. As part of the checks they do, they will know that. So Bank A is saying you borrowed, you never paid back. What happened?
What happened?
You are caught out. You can explain what you want. Bank B will not lend you.
They will not lend you the money,
So you also just lose your credibility, and in the end, everything just comes crashing
Crumbles,
down.
You're just a total mess.
Yeah.
You know? An unfortunate stage to reach, but I suppose that's what can happen. So our next question, I think we're drawing towards the close. We've already sort of answered it, but I'll ask it anyway, just in case you've got any additional thoughts. And it's debt, really. Why is carrying, and the key word here is unnecessary debt, a form of poor stewardship? And what steps should viewers take now to avoid debt this festive season?
Okay, so in fact, for that question, let me answer it also by reference to what happens in the world I am in. I say in the introduction, I said I'm also a bank.
Yes.
So, like as a bank, we do have a department or a person we call the treasurer of the bank. So, what tends to happen at the end of each day? Treasurers of all the banks, they need to do what we call square their position.
Okay.
Yeah, square. Now, at the point of squaring their position, normally there are 2 things that happens.
Yes.
One, it's either this treasurer has got excess cash or they've got a deficit.
Okay.
So there are 2. So now, whether you've got excess or deficit, you need to square so that you're almost like at 0 or something like that. Now, when you've got, I think let me start with the easier one. When you've got excess. So when you've got excess, the options that are available to you is to look for somebody who's got what we might call a short position, like who's got a deficit.
Okay.
And then you lend to that person at a particular interest rate, so that you are a good steward of the bank's resources.
Okay.
With your excess that you have at the end of the day, you can still earn a return on it. If you can't find anybody else, you can still place that money with the regulator. In this case, let's say the Central Bank of Zambia, where you also earn something.
Okay.
As a good steward. Now, if you are a bad steward, a bad treasurer, with that excess, you do nothing. It just remains on your books and ends 0 for that day. So that's being a bad steward. Now, on the reverse, if you find yourself that you are short, you are the one with the deficit, and you need to square your position, you have to look for other other banks that have got excess so that they can lend it to you at a particular
At a certain rate,
at a
yeah.
certain rate. Yeah. Because if you don't do that, you don't have the luxury of just going to sleep with the deficit. That must be squared. So if you don't do anything, the regulator will come in and square your position at a punitive rate.
Really?
Yes. So meaning, if you did it yourself, you would have squared your position at a like, for instance, let's say currently in Zambia, if you borrow from another financial institution or another bank, you borrow somewhere say around 14% for a day. But if the regulator comes in and they are the ones that are squaring your position,
Yes.
they lend to you at 30%. So the extra 16%
Yes.
is like a penalty. So you are being a bad steward. So now the point I'm trying to make is that debt has got a cost. And if you incur debt which in a way you didn't use properly, you basically add to your cost. So now I think getting back to the question you asked, you're basically saying if someone has overspent,
Yes.
what should they do?
What should they do? Yes.
Yes, they are already there. So now one thing I talked about earlier also about debt is that it can ruin your reputation.
Yes.
So now, if you find yourself you've overspent, you are struggling to pay your debt,
Yes.
the best thing you can do is to do like what responsible governments do.
Yes.
When you've got debt you are failing to pay, you go back to the people who've lent you money and you renegotiate the debt so that instead of, for instance, if you are supposed to pay back, for argument's sake, to pay back, say, 20,000 kwacha, which you don't have, but you know that over a period of four months, you'll be having 5,000 here, 5,000 there. You go and renegotiate that maybe you extend the period to pay and you lower the amount you pay per period so that at the end of the day, you don't end up in a situation where you can't pay your debts. You are relying on other people to write off your debts. If that happens and you've got a serious need in future, people will not touch you because they know that you are a bad debtor.
You are a bad debtor.
Yeah.
So that option is actually available to people.
Yes, it is.
You've got debt with an institution, a bank. You can go and sit down with them and say, guys, things are not well with me. Can we... Yeah, like we're doing as a country.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's very because in fact, actually, what happens is that even for banks, one of our core business is to lend money.
Yes.
When we lend money, we understand that sometimes a business's fortunes may not go the way that they expected, and they are struggling. We can go back and renegotiate. Now, that renegotiation ideally should, in my view, it should be anticipated and dealt with before it becomes a problem.
Right.
I think similar with individuals. Like, for instance, if I've borrowed money from you, I don't wait until the due date. I default,
Then I come
and then
to you.
and then I start ignoring your costs.
It must be before. You know.
Before I should come to you and tell you, look, I know I owe you this much, but I can't afford to pay it at the moment.
Right.
But here are my cash flows. Can we agree that I pay you over a period of time on reduced amounts and so forth? So for me, that would be the good thing to do.
It's interesting you'd say that because there are not a lot of people who do that. Because, you know, when you're in a fight, yes, sometimes things just happen. But most of the times we can tell that the next where I'm going, things are not looking okay. You are servicing your debt just fine, you know. But you can see in the next 3-4 months, it may not be as well as it is now. And then now you say, you know what, maybe let me go and... people don't know this information, I feel.
And also if you look at it, like for instance, imagine you owe me money.
Yes.
And you are failing to pay me. And then I saw you having a lavish party during the festive period. I would just think that you didn't prioritize my debt.
You didn't care.
So I will not be merciful. I can drag you to the courts, to the bailiffs.
Social media.
So at the end of the day, everything boils down to discipline
Yes.
and proper planning.
Yes,
If you need
yes,
to manage
yes,
your finances. In fact, actually, when it comes to finances, um, it's like, like we talk about a person learning how to read and write. We call
Yes.
it literacy, right? If someone can't read and write, they are illiterate or something
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes, yes.
Even in terms of managing finances, there's what is called financial literacy.
Yes.
I think we should all, because we use money for everything, we should have some level of financial literacy.
Yeah.
And I know that most financial institutions, as part of their corporate social responsibility, they do offer these services so that people are making informed financial
Well-informed
decisions.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting to hear. Also back to our socials.
Yeah.
We have Gladys Mutale who's joined us. I think she was asking us to make a correction. I'm sure that has been done. Thank you, Gladys. Ubupe Kaunda Kasongo has also joined us. You're welcome. James Kasongo. Kelvin Mundundu is watching us. Thank you. Elliot Musande says he's enjoying the program. Wembia Chanda is watching. Esther Chanda is watching. Phyllis Mwemba Kabamba is watching. Hope Tembo is watching. You are all welcome, and we are glad that you have been able to join us this evening. So before we proceed to our last question, we have received one question at least, and this question is coming from Hope Tembo. She's asking, how do you deal with things like black tax when you are not at a point to help yet, back to our culture that we're talking about,
Yeah. No, in fact, that thing for us in this part of the world, it's something that drags us behind, because I think reality is that in most of the families where we come from, we are all not blessed with the same level of financial success.
That's true.
There are those that will struggle and so forth. But for me, as an individual, what I do, especially let's say in my extended family, what I do is, I think for people that are in school and are investing, sometimes I can even go out of my way and sacrifice for them.
Right.
And sacrifice for them to basically be in a better place and so forth. But for adults, somebody comes to me and says, I don't have money for meal. He's an adult and able-bodied. I may help maybe once or twice.
Yes.
If I see that the help is becoming an entitlement, I just cut it off.
Just cut it off.
I just cut it off. So, and also sometimes with black tax, what some people don't realize is that, like I remember at some point where I decided to be deliberate about how I go about helping. I don't just help like aimlessly. I think it's also, I also plan for it in terms of helping other people and so forth. What I realized is that I think there was a particular time I was also a bit financially stressed. Then I received like maybe 10 to 15 requests. So these would be from extended family members, former schoolmates, some from primary school, some from secondary school, even some from college.
Wow.
So like all the requests flood in at once, and almost all of them are asking for little amounts.
Yes.
Now, when you add them up,
you aggregate
them, it's a lot, and then you find someone is complaining that, no, out of all the money you have, I only want this little. You are not giving me. I remember telling someone to say that, look, that little you are asking for, imagine there are 15 of you asking for that same
the
one.
same amount.
So,
put it together.
Put it together. So what I've done is I've decided to help some, maybe who are coming in for the first time, but you, who seems to be regular and you think you are entitled to my resources, no. And those people, on a lighter note, personal as an individual, I've made it very clear that apart from my children, there is nobody who is entitled to my resources. One thing I never do is, no matter how emotional or a need is, even in the immediate family comes, I've told myself I can't borrow to help. I will help from what I have. If I don't have,
then you don't have it.
then I don't have it. I don't take on the burdens of others unnecessarily to a point of what's the word? I don't know what word you can use. To the point of like, for lack of a better word, really disadvantaging
yourself.
myself.
Right.
But we do help, like with this black tax. It's part of us. In fact, actually, for me, the issue of black tax also makes me feel that, like when we are growing up, we all have those ambitions of maybe living abroad or something like that.
Yes.
I did have an experience to live abroad for a number of years. And what I noticed there is that almost all the black tax people were cut off.
Oh, really?
Because they couldn't reach me.
All right. Yes.
In a way, personally, as an individual, instead of feeling good that I no longer have black tax, I actually felt bad that I'm not relevant to
anymore.
people who may need me.
Yes.
So for me, at the end of the day, it's balancing.
Yes.
And as part of the black tax, we should in no way encourage laziness, in my view.
Like you've said, that balance it's not the easiest to maintain, because on one hand you are being disciplined with yourself. You don't want to spend what you don't have. But at the same time, that culture that we have of wanting to help, and also coupled with that is the fear that we have that if I don't help, my name, they'll start talking about me. So, it doesn't help. We hear these things every single day. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
And in fact, trust me, from experience, I've got people who, let's say they come to ask for help, you give them. They come a second time, you give them. Third time, you say, I don't have. Fourth time, I don't have. They go and malign your name. They come back again, you say no. On the 10th time, when you help them, they actually forget that you never helped them. You become a darling again. But I think for me also, it's a bit unfair for people who are on the receiving end to just have this culture of wanting to receive. I think this is something you don't find in the Western culture. Because in the Western culture, no wonder, like for instance, maybe to sidestep a bit, I remember one time, I think I was at church. So there was somebody from another country, I think from America or the UK, who was around. And when they came, they had this idea that Africans are poor and we should be mobilizing funds to help them and so forth. So when they came to church, they looked at the car park and they're like, no, these people are not
they're
poor.
not as poor as they seem.
So they must have a lot of extra resources at their disposal. So I remember sitting down one of such people and saying, in Africa, there is black tax.
There's black tax here.
People just expect that you give them without giving it back in return. But that's not the case in the Western world. In the Western world, people actually frown upon being dependent on anybody else. No wonder jokingly people say that even when you go on a date, like here, our young men, when they go on a date, it's just expected that they will cover all the costs. But in the Western world, you go on a date, each person covers their own, or the bill comes, what's the total? It's £100. Split 50-50, irrespective of what you ate. So everybody contributes. If you offer to do everything, the other party can even feel offended. So black tax, we need to grow out of it.
We do,
But then again, we can't also have the stance of not helping
people,
because in my view, I'm also reminded of the story of Esther in the Bible, though I may not apply it properly, but sometimes God puts us or blesses us with certain things so that we can be of help to others. So we can't close our eyes.
Yes. That's correct. Yes, so we're drawing to a close of our discussion. Quite interesting so far. So just turning to YouTube, we have Joe Chasonga, who's still following. He's also asked a question. I'm not sure we are going to answer the question. It will depend on how you look at it, because he's made reference to two scriptures, and he's asking for an interpretation.
I'm not a theologian, but
Yeah, which I'm saying we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how so that's one question from George Asonga. I'm going to read it just now, but let me also read the second question. I'm not sure I think we've already answered this question. You'll see, you judge for yourself. So this question is coming from Kasonde Chama. She says it's a great topic. So there's immense pressure in Zambia for extravagant generosity during the festive season, gifts and feasting, things that we talked about.
Yeah.
How can we honor the biblical call to generosity without getting in debt? We've already answered this question more or less, but just in case you've got thoughts, you are free to give them.
Yeah, okay, so maybe the simple answer I can also give to there is that let's be generous within our means.
Yes.
Let's not be generous to a point where after you've exercised your generosity, then you start wondering how you are going to recover. Yeah, so let's give out of what we
have.
Yeah.
Yes,
we can't shy away from helping.
That's true.
Let's help.
That's true.
Yeah.
We also have a question from Isaac and Stella Toewaze. They are asking, I think we also touched on it, is fundraising a worthy option for a need you can't afford? So maybe I'm interpreting this question from the standpoint of when you said, remember when we were talking about there are all these Black Friday sales, you anticipate and you actually set aside funds maybe every month. I'm guessing this is the question being asked.
Yeah, although I'm also looking at it from the perspective of maybe some need comes up, let's say maybe a health emergency.
Okay.
And it's just come.
Yes.
You can see that the person who's got this emergency, despite the fact that they are disciplined and so forth, it's beyond them. I think close friends can come in and
chip in and
fundraise for them, like we work together. So I'll look at it from that perspective. But it must be for a specific need.
Correct.
In my view.
Okay. So now to look at the theological.
We can try.
Yes. Let me try and open I don't know if you've got a Bible there that you can quickly open. Yes. So the question reads, good evening. How do you interpret Leviticus 25 verse 36?
Leviticus
25 verse 36.
Verse 36.
So that's one scripture. He's given two scriptures, so maybe we can look at this one.
Okay, let me read it. Take no interest from him or profit, but fear your God, that your brother may live beside you. Okay, so when I look at my Bible here, the topic is about kindness for poor brothers. So I think for me there is a context there, and I know that this context in some religions, like I think the Muslim or something like that, they strongly believe that you can't lend money and charge interest.
Yes.
But what you find is that what we call interest, they've got another way of
still making money.
They still make money, but they've just got another way. So I think for me, I would look at it from that perspective. Because in fact, from verse 35, it starts with, if your brother becomes poor and cannot maintain himself with you, you shall support him as though he were a stranger and a sojourner, and he shall live with you. So me, I think for this one, it's just about hospitality, brotherly kindness, and so forth. So if you've got a brother, there's a misfortune, they can't look after themselves. You can look after them, and not demand anything from
Right.
them. Like, for instance, we've got the story of the Good Samaritan
Yes.
who took care of this person, even paid for his lodging, left money for his food,
Yes.
without expecting anything,
Anything in return,
So I
yes.
think for me, I can look at it that way as well.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think that's kind of what the questioner is sort of.
Yeah.
I hope the next one will be as convenient as the first one.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 23,
Okay, Deuteronomy 23,
verse 19.
verse 19. Okay, so it says, you shall not charge interest on loans to your brother, interest on money, interest on food, interest on anything that is lent and so forth. So I think for me, this has got its context.
Context, yes.
If you look at the scripture I quoted at the beginning,
Yes.
when the master was rebuking the lazy
Yes,
steward,
yes,
where
yes,
it says,
yes.
you should have just taken the money to the bank,
bank
and
and,
earn
yeah,
interest. So I think this one has got its own,
context.
but also for me, maybe the way I would look at it, you know that if I lend you money and it's like, for me to charge you interest,
Yes.
I need the license
Yes,
to charge
of
you
course.
interest. So,
Yes,
if I lend you money and I charge you, it's illegal in this country. You
Yes,
can
it
actually
is.
report me to the police,
police, yes, yeah.
and I'll be arrested. So banks have got a license to lend and charge
Yes,
interest.
yes,
Those
yes.
people who do it at a small scale, they go and they get what is called the Shylocks
Yes.
license,
Yes,
where
yes.
they can, even if though they charge extortionally, but
Yes, but they've got some sort of...
yes, they've got a license, they've got a legal backing. So ideally for me, maybe I can apply this to there. You
Right.
don't have a license, don't charge
don't
interest.
charge interest at all. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Very contextual scriptures. Yes,
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
it has helped for the person who's asking.
Yeah.
So, final question. So the previous question that we're looking at, we were talking about someone who's proactive. You can see that you are facing problems in the coming months, and you go to your bank or your institution and say, okay, guys, I may not manage. How about we renegotiate our terms? I'm told there's another question on social media, but I'll read the last question anyway, then I'll look at the final question. So, advice to someone who's already overspent. If a viewer, we may have people who are watching this show and they're already deep in the hole, and they're now thinking to themselves, what hope is there for me? Because I've not been addressed in this cast. What is the best simple action plan for them to recover financially in the new year?
Okay, so I think as we alluded to earlier, so one, I think you need to ensure that you also maintain your testimony and your reputation by ensuring that you don't default. You don't start. You even block the number of
the person who's demanding their money.
In this day and age, you can see, at least in the olden days, when the phone rings, you don't even know who's calling. Not the cell phones, but the land phones.
Yes.
So I think for me, another aspect to ensure that you come out of that is, it's also maybe what countries do. I recall when I was still in school, when the Chiluba administration, for those who may be younger, may have just read about President FTJ Chiluba in the books, but I lived during the time when he came to power. There's something they were talking about, structural adjustment, austerity, and so forth. So if you are in debt, cut off some things that you can live without. You can live without, so that you can free up some resources, which you can apply to the debt that you've renegotiated in terms of repayment. So that at the end of the day, you don't get to a situation where you completely fail to pay. You should still be deliberate. You borrowed, pay back.
You just have to be responsible. It's not your money. Someone sacrificed, to give you that money. Yes. So it's all about readjusting.
Yes,
which is quite difficult for a lot of people, actually. I think, you know. You are used to a certain...
I think it is, because I recall one time, I think there's somebody who was struggling financially, and when I talked to this person, I was like, I think just move from the neighborhood where you are living.
Staying, yes.
Because where you are staying, your 50% of your salary is going towards rent.
It's going towards
Go to a place where 10% of your salary will be going to rent.
Yes.
You create financial freedom. So this is the adjustment we're talking about. Let's not keep up appearances.
You know, sell your car, stuff like that, right? So buy a cheaper car or something.
You know, like this thing of even like people want to keep up appearances with cars. I remember one of my colleagues a long time ago. People saw him in a small car. And then they came to ask me, what's wrong with him? I was like, what do you mean? Look at the car he's driving.
Look at the car he's driving.
No, but he uses that car once. He still has the other car. So there's nothing wrong with him.
Just that fear that, you know, people are going to think of me in this way. You know, but I guess you have to be real with yourself. Yes, so we are done with our questions, but let me turn my attention to the last question that we received. Esther Chanda says she's enjoying the program with her husband. Thanks for joining us, Esther. So the question is from Kelvin Mundundu, and it reads, how do you strike a balance with your finances in terms of investing in a savings account when what you earn is only enough to sustain you and sometimes less to meet your needs, looking at our biting economy?
So in fact, actually, one of the misconceptions about saving is that I'll start saving when I start earning enough.
Yes.
You know, like earlier on I said that money, sometimes someone can be earning 5,000.
Yes.
It's not enough. 50,000. It's not enough. 500,000.
It's not enough.
So at the end of the day, for me, it's about discipline.
Yes.
Like, for instance, let me give an what I might call an orthodox example, but I think it will drive the point home. Do you know that a poor person and a rich person, if they both love alcohol, they will be satisfying their need for alcohol. They will be getting drunk.
Yes.
The poor person will get drunk on beer which is worth 15 kwacha. The rich person will get drunk on beer worth 40,000 kwacha.
Yes.
They've both gotten drunk. They've achieved what they want. But what's the difference there? I think it is what they choose in terms of they basically measure that my station in life is here, and they go there. So for me, in fact, actually, even in terms of investing, like I said, early on I was advised that treat saving as an expense. Like in the same way you would plan that I'll pay rent. You've got an amount for rent. I'll pay electricity. I'll pay DSTV. I'll pay for this. I'll pay for savings, so that saving is part of your plan. I think, and when you do that, there are many ways of saving in this country. Of course, the laziest way of saving is to keep money in a current account or saving account in a bank. That's a lazy way. In fact, actually, that's being a bad steward. if that's where you save. But there are other things you can do. Like, let's say if it's a bank, you can, because that money for savings is not for consumption. You can afford to be placing it in fixed deposits. Maybe 30 days or 90 days or 1 year, where the interest rate is reasonable, unlike money sitting in a savings account. And then in this day and age, we've got government bonds. You can buy government bonds. You can buy treasury bills. The minimum you need is just 1,000 kwacha. So there are all sorts of investments that you can do. And these investments that you do, in my view, they are also for maybe a rainy day or even for your future, because for most of us, if I give an example of, let's say, footballers, a footballer, they earn a lot of money when they are somewhere between 18 and maybe 32.
There. Yes, yeah.
Because that's their most productive.
Yes.
If people are getting to 30 years old, even us who are over 40 will be saying he's old. And he's even looking old. The guy is only 30 years old.
He's only 30 and they're saying he's, yeah.
So meaning at that point, his earning potential goes down.
Going down.
So,
yes.
when you are earning a lot, and I think for me this also is, I think there are examples even in scripture about, I think certain animals that in the summer they gather up food and they store it. In the winter when they can't go out to gather food, they use what they So I think for me, saving is very important, and to be disciplined also, put money in savings you can't easily touch because there will always be needs. In fact, actually, like interestingly, when I said I hate being broke, but there are times when I can say I am broke, but I can still manage my like what is important.
The essentials.
For the essentials, I'm never broke for essentials. Maybe I'm broke for entertainment. Or I'm broke for giving black tax. Something like that. Like in times when I'm broke for giving black tax, coincidentally nobody comes to me. It's like I don't know how it works, but the moment I've got extra, I've got requests. Not that the people. so that's why I'm saying income. Expenditure follows income. As long as there's income, as long as you've got savings, which you are not treating as savings in your current account, you will spend it.
You will spend it, yeah. No, that's interesting. There are all these, and we're a bit lazy. We don't want to research on these saving vehicles that are available, So your encouragement is to speak to your bank, and you'll be advised accordingly. Yes. Yeah, wow, what a conversation this has been. Uncle Bobbline, we are so glad that you made time for us. It's been a very productive conversation. To our viewers who joined us this evening, thank you very much. We always appreciate your presence on the cast. This, incidentally, is our last live for the year. So we'd also like to, on behalf of the chairperson of this ministry, would like to thank all our viewers who have joined us over the course of the year, who've commented, who've asked questions. We do not take it for granted. We really appreciate it. I think we've been able to go through so many topics. We've learned so much, and we've been blessed in one way or the other. We will continue churning out material on our social media handles and pages, so please look out for those. And at some point early next year, we'll be back with more exciting topics such as this one, and we hope we are going to be blessed like the way we have this year. Uncle Bobbline, thank you once again for joining us.
I know it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, sure. So from all of us here at Reform Studios, it's good night for now.